Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. Peace and blessings to the elect and sincere brothers of Israel out there pushing this word in all truth and sincerity. And from the title, you can tell how to be more disciplined or how to break bad habits. And because a lot of brothers will bring out scriptures about being disciplined and being disciplined, with chastisement, so on and so forth. And but I'm gonna bring out some scriptures and also bring out like uh, how to form like a mentality to do this. Um, I'm going to start by reading 1 Corinthians 9 and 24 through 27, and it says, "And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things." That word temperate, really, that word temperate, let's just copy and paste it. It means relating or denoting, no, that's not it, showing moderation or self-restraint. All right, so he says, "And every man that striveth for the mastery is, showing self-restraint and discipline in all things." All right, now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. All right, and what the Apostle Paul was talking about is, you got your athletes, you got your scholars, and they're very temperate with their diet, with their training, with their exercises, so on and so forth. Um, they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. So we should be, you know, show the same kind of discipline and temperance in all things, for this incorruptible crown. All right. Therefore, I therefore so run not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. All right. So we're not in this race just to be a participant. We're in it to strive for the mastery. All right. Uh, whoops. It says, "But I keep under my body and bring it into subjection." That's going into discipline. Lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. All right. So he puts his body under subjection. All right. So how do you do this? All right. Step one, you gotta admit your problem. All right. You gotta recognize, that you're fucking up. All right. And with that, I'm gonna get into these scriptures, Proverbs 24 and 16. "For a just man falleth 7 times and riseth up again." All right, so that's the mentality that you're going to have to have. You got to acknowledge that you're going to have your slip ups, you're going to have your fuck ups, but you're going to get up again. All right, you're going to change that momentum. All right, it says, "But the wicked shall fall into mischief." People that lack discipline, they're going to fall and stay there. And they're just going to keep doing it. They're going to return back to the same shit that they fall into. All right, Matthew 26 and 41 says, "Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." So just knowing that, hey, we're still in this flesh, you're gonna you're gonna fall sometimes, but you gotta have that spirit that is indeed willing, and watch and pray that you don't fall into those temptations. Trying your best not to go off. All right. Psalms 55 and 22, "Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved." I really should have put this scripture at the top. But, when you admit your problem, pray to the Lord, man. Start by acknowledging it, confessing it to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, saying that Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, you're the Almighty, through you all things are done, and I need help, getting this video done, or start building momentum, start studying, just simple, like for that, whatever that simple task it is that's blocking you from, whatever that needs to be done. All right. Step two, simplify what needs to be done. All right, and focus on it and cast away, all the other things. But also when you focus on what needs to be done. You don't want to overthink it, because when you start overthinking it, you're kind of thinking about like all the problems that you may face when you start to do this task, and that kind of makes you procrastinate, and it sends you into this mentality of don't do it, just wait later, I'll put it off, whatever. But don't do that. Simplify what needs to be done and just do it, and don't don't focus on anything else. Sirach 18 and 31. If thou givest thy soul the desires that please her, she will make thee a laughing stock to thine enemies that malign thee. All right. Meaning, don't get caught up into uh cat don't get caught into what you rather do. All right. This is 2 Ezra 14 and 15. And set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. So whatever thoughts you start thinking, well, I can do it a little bit later, or I can whatever's keeping you from doing it, just set it aside. Cast it upon the Lord, and haste thee to flee from these times, meaning quickly flee from these times. Quick. Which brings me to my next step: act as soon as possible. All right, because once you've gone through these steps quickly, because it's a quick mindset. Once you acknowledge that you got a problem, all right, then you gotta simplify what needs to be done, and then turn to it as soon as possible. So it's like this boom, boom, boom kind of thought process. You don't overthink it. You don't say, don't overthink it. Just what needs to be done, do it, and you gotta put your actions into motion. Because once you start, once you just dive into it, like for example, this lesson that I'm doing right now, I know I was kind of lacking motivation, and I was kind of being lazy. And then I was like, well, I'll just make a video. Like, this is my topic. I need to make a video. This will be my topic. So I started with the topic, and I was like, all right, what needs to be done? I got to I'll put the steps together, and then I'll get precepts for the steps. I started writing out the steps. Then all these scriptures were popping up for each certain step. And then as I was going, I realized, oh, I got I see half of the presentation almost made up. And with that, it kind of built that momentum to finish it. To once I get it finished, I'll press record and do a video. This is Sirach 5 and 7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed, and perish in the day of vengeance. Now this is lighting a fire up under your ass if you keep procrastinating, man. But it's very simple, like and that Pomodoro technique, I'm going to get into that. It's basically when you set a 20-minute timer and to do any kind of task, and it says can vary. The time that you focus on a task and the time you break, it can vary, which means it can change. Because really, this is for you want to set this for whatever free time you have. All right, and usually everybody has 20-30 minutes of free time to spare. All right, so when you set this timer, if your task is getting some reading done, doing a video or preparing a video, or just time of study, whether it be some homework that you need to catch up on, or whatever, set a timer, go for 20 minutes, eliminate all distractions, and then I meant to put momentum right here. Eliminate all distractions and focus on small tasks. Just do this one small task and then focus on the next one. Focus on this, reading a few verses. Once you read a few verses, you're going to find that this momentum is going to pick up. You'll start getting in a groove. All right, you'll start getting this motivation to read more or find other precepts that go with it. You'll start taking notes, highlighting, you know, and then that's the key to this Pomodoro technique is you want to keep momentum. Now, the first time that you do it, you might only do it 20 minutes and then, take a 5-minute break. But you want to catch yourself working past those 20 minutes. Once you get into that momentum, that's when you start growing and building in whatever skill that you're trying to focus on. And this isn't these techniques isn't just for studying scriptures. It's you can apply it to pretty much anything. All right, but I'm going to close with these precepts. It says Sirach 38:24. The wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure. All right, and leisure is like your free time. All right, study time, really. And he that hath little business shall become very wise. Someone that's not got a whole lot of other tasks to do. All right, he's focused on getting this wisdom. All right, and this is Revelation 3:11. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. And I got that because it kind of goes with that building momentum and keeping with it. All right, because over time you're going to find that this is going to build a habit. You want to do, like, forming discipline is basically forming habits. All right, and this lesson is pretty much like acknowledging that you have a bad habit and turning quickly from it. All right, you know what needs to be done. You be blunt about it. Be simple about it. I'll use this analogy. Let's say you find yourself watching too much TV, eating sweets a lot in your free time. Just realize that, all right, I'm being fat and lazy. I need to do something about it. Get up right then and there. Do 5 push-ups. And then focus on like say I need to work out more. I need to study more. All right, so replace those bad habits quickly. All right. But you have to acknowledge it first. This is Proverbs 25:28. He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. So someone that lacks these discipline skills is like a city that is broken down without no walls. Like anybody can run up in that city and start overthrowing. It's no rules. All right. Proverbs 16:32. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty. He that ruleth his own spirit than he that taketh a city. And that's pretty much plain. Somebody that does have that self-discipline is mightier than someone that taketh a city. All right. Because, for example, Alexander the Greek, he took over, he conquered a whole empire. All right, but he had a short run, man. What did he have to show of it, man? And another thing about discipline is, or self-discipline, because it's harder to have self-discipline than to be disciplined. Because like when I was in high school, I had coaches and teachers, and of course my parents, they're always on my ass to make sure I was keeping my grades up and make sure, that I was staying fit and so on and so forth. But, after high school, there's nobody to tell you what to do, and, developing, these traits and these skills, is very vital, all right, for your success, So that, I hope this video was edifying, and shalom.